Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Very special walk around for you today. Tractor that I'm personally really interested in. I think it bears a great significance to the history and evolution of the Caterpillar model line. We're at Albany Pioneer Days Showgrounds, Albany, Minnesota. This is pickup day from their recent online element auction, and my buddy bought this. It is a gasoline Caterpillar 50, and well, I asked him if I'd come down here and get on camera. He said yeah. So we hopped in the truck 5 o'clock this morning, drove 3 hours, got here about an hour before anything's starting up so that we can maybe get some footage before we get in anybody's way. So let's get started. So let's just take a look at the serial number to begin with. This is a 5A1056 going by the engine, and 5A1056 on the rear. It is a matching numbers machine. That makes it a 1935. Built these from 31 to 37, and this is basically the later style 50 that had a few changes. The earlier ones, up until around 5A757, had a big square fuel tank right in front of the operator. After that, they streamlined them, they boosted the power a little bit, went with this Y-shaped dash that's very much like its larger diesel cousins, and relocated the fuel tank to the seat. And this is the Cat 7500G gasoline engine, 5.5-inch bore, 6.5-inch stroke, 4 cylinders, puts us north of 600 cubic inches. And this was actually quite a groundbreaking engine for the day, namely cross-flow design. So we have the intake manifold on this side, drop down with the old Ensign brass era carburetor on there, and exhaust exits on the other side. Quite the intricate manifold on these, all kinds of cooling fins. We've got the heat box in place, and the interesting thing is there is a crossover manifold that goes from the heat box back over to this other side and feeds this heating jacket around the intake manifold. That is for burning lower grade tractor fuels. You could route some more exhaust around this intake tube and get your octane level up, or atomize it a little bit better, I should say, so they can be fed in the cylinders, ignited and burned. So quite a lot of complexity in this engine for its day. Exhaust manifold is multi-piece, so we have it wise from these 2 cylinders to a joint right here, comes in from the back too, another joint right there, have the whole middle section with joints and probably some graphite seals in there, carbon seals, feeds the heat box. Originally it would have had like another big apparatus here on the exhaust. I don't know if it was a spark arrestor or a recirculator or what, but definitely an interesting design. All the cylinder jugs are cast individually, and the neat part is the cylinder heads are also individual to each jug, as well as the rocker arm boxes. So each cylinder could be repaired one at a time if need be. Ensign fuel pump down here. Oil filter would be in here. Lots of different monkey motion on the controls, to the throttle plate, up to the governor housing. This one is outfitted with electrics. We have a gear drive generator down there, and we do have an electric starter fitted to the bell housing right here. Battery box on the fender, so that makes it kind of cool. We'll just get a read here. I can already smell the varnish. We have, here's our dipstick for the tank. We got 40, 45 gallons, 50, 55, 59 at the top. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, right there. So 60-gallon fuel tank. When you load this 7500G engine up, you can expect to burn easily 7 gallons per hour. You start cheeching it to full onion, you're going to be burning 10 gallons an hour with this thing. So that's part of the reason why these really didn't last that long. They were built a year later than their diesel cousin, the Diesel 50, which was basically an early D7. So this is as close as you get to a gasoline D7 as Cat ever made. But at that time, municipalities and government entities were about the only ones that were really still buying larger gasoline powered tractors, because they had not yet converted their primary fuel stock over to diesel. So gasoline is what they had readily available. That's what they continued to buy. But even by this point in time, mid-30s, diesel already had a pretty good foothold on the situation. You could get twice the service life out of them, and they do it on half of the fuel. So this is definitely the last gasp of the larger, bigger bore gasoline powered Caterpillars. Oh, and I should have noted, this engine is rated to run 850 RPM wide open, so it's not making a whole lot of revolutions, but you're feeding a lot of fuel into those cylinders to do it. They tipped the scales at just over 18,000 pounds tractor weight, and drawbar pull maxed out just a little over 12,000. So not an awesome power to weight ratio, but they still did the job. Another thing I like about these tractors is they've almost got an oversized looking undercarriage on them compared to the rest of the machine. You just take a look at that. It's like it's all tracks. And Grouser bars on this one are pretty stand up. Top rollers are not bad. It's got the original centrally mounted style. Rails are getting a little worn, but there's life left in them. Sprockets look good. Even that back roller back there looks good. No signs of having been built up. Bushings don't have a lot of external wear either. So another hallmark of these Gas 50s, they got this extra guide puck on the back of this heavy front yoke. There's been some buildup on that idler. See a lot of weld. Checking out the other side, much the same condition. We got quite a bit of wear on this front carrier roller here. Aside from that, this back one still looks pretty good. Same noticeable weld buildup on the front idler. All in all though, not bad. Let's get a view from the operator's platform. I mean, look at the room you've got up here. That Y-shaped dash gives you perfect vision down each side to the front of each track. Still has the old Eisman ignition switch, on-off switch on the dash. That's where the heat control lever would have been. You can see it stamped heat on, heat off. Oil pressure gauge, patent tag down in the center. This is the throttle. And interestingly enough, they use the same Rube Goldberg inspired open-ended wrench type reverse throttle linkage pivot mechanism that I've showcased on like the Cat 22s. On these era gas Cats, they really like to use this system. Brake pedals. Now this is just like its larger brother, the Diesel 50, RD7, D7. They have these adjustable length brake pedals. You see like this eye bolt right here, cinch nut, and it just clamps that pedal shaft to the actual brake lever. I like things like that. Quite a lot of wear though. Starting to get pretty slick on both of those. Shifter right here in the middle. Shift tag still intact. Looks like we have reverse, first, second, and then third. So, steering levers, good pull to each one. Main clutch, even has a good over center snap. We've got some movement in those brake pedals though. That brake's a little bit spongy. Yeah, they're both a little spongy. I think we could stand some adjustment back there. Characteristic of the Gas 50, these slope down engine side panels. This one has a couple accessories on it too. We have these side rails for extra support, go up from the chassis to the front of the radiator. They also provide the mounting for this Cat factory belly pan. And we've got this beautiful heavy duty front mounted tow hook on it. Riveted design, just like the RD6 that I've got at home. This should have had a couple of wings. You can see we're torched off here, we're torched off there. Should have had a couple of wings originally that came up about that high and then back down each side. It was pretty common to see those get cut off because it made it easier to remove the radiator without having to mess with that belly pan, but that's still 3/8 inch thick steel. Cat factory light bracket each side of the radiator yet. Yeah, the earlier Cat 50s that would have had the fuel tank in front of the operator, they would have had vertical lettering here that said 50 on each radiator side, and probably just Caterpillar or even nothing on the top tank. Like I said, this is a later design 50, so they relocated the 50 here and did the vertical Caterpillar font down each side. Having a look in here, mainspring still intact. We do not have the original magneto. That should be the Eisman, I believe the CM4, that great big cinder block style. I think this looks like maybe a Bosch has been put on there. Pretty common aftermarket hydraulic setup. So the remnants of this bracket here indicates that it most likely would have had a dozer blade on it. Looks like we've had some wear on a couple of these holes. Broken off bolt right there. Actually, they're torched off bolts. They're there. So likely a LaPlante Choate style dozer blade, because they utilize these mountings down to here quite often. Extra support right there. I didn't see any lettering on the hydraulic control, but that is not Cat. Cat was not making options like that at this time. But piping goes across, so we would have had cylinder taps for hoses come out there and there. Hydraulic reservoir tank there. Grab handle on the side of the seat. Suffered some damage at one point. Not sure what this was there for. We got this rear mounted pump, and again, I'm not seeing anything on it that would identify who the maker is, but nice cast bracket goes in there. Packing seal looks like. Shaft goes into the rear end where it would take off power from the top shaft of the transmission. But one thing I noticed on this side though, and hopefully it's not too dark to see, we've got a crack with a weld. Goes all the way up around that final drive housing. It looks like something punched a hole right there and they welded a patch. And I can even see where the crack takes off vertically up off the end of my finger. I think we can see it. Yeah, you can see that crack going up right there. So that definitely got buggered somehow, some way in the past. That's not a good sign, because these are not easy to find parts for, but it's here. Drawbar, surprisingly, barely looks worn at all. But I tell you, these are the tractors that the cool kids have right here. If I had unlimited means, I would have really been seriously vying for this one. Very, very interesting unit. It's free, it's loose. One nice part about these gear drive fans, pretty easy to grab on one of those and see if the engine's free. So, all right, hope you all enjoyed the walk around. I know this one got a bit long-winded, but this is definitely a key player in the history of the Caterpillar Tractor Company. It's kind of a keystone in the evolution. It represents the last gasp of the early old school big bore gasoline era, right before diesel became king. And actually diesel had pretty much taken its spot by the time this tractor was built. So thanks for watching, everybody. Boy, this is a cool piece. Definitely worth the drive to get it on camera. Hope to see you all back. Squeaks a little bit, but it rolls. Do a ride along real quick. That must be the brake making noise.
Yeah, there's not much there.
No, they were pretty spongy when I was on there doing a walk around. You're in gear, man. You hear the mag clicking? Not a lot of grip on that steel. There she's straightening out. No brakes, no brakes. Bit of a Foxworthy winch, but it gets the job done, right?